We're in a boat called Flying Saucer. It's over 16 feet long and 6 feet wide. Bob, how does this differ from an ordinary speedboat?
Well, this is a speedboat specifically constructed for offshore racing. It's built light wherever possible, but very, very strong. Heavy ribs and but a light skin.
Yeah. Nice padded seats.
Yeah, well, yes, you need all this padding, and they, as you feel, they're very soft, but firm around.
Yeah. What about the engine? Is that much larger?
Well, the engine is a 100 Mercury, which is a 1476cc engine. That's about the same size as an average family saloon car.
Driving it, is that difficult?
Well, not all that difficult. There are problems. One needs to know exactly how to get it into the fastest mode of travel on the plane. And you'll find that the steering is a little hard, but there's only one major control, the gear lever and throttle control, which you push forward into forward gear, and the further you push it forward, the more the throttle goes in. Neutral in the middle, reverse aft, and in the same way, the further you push it down, the faster you go back.
So no pedals to worry about, just one
No pedals to worry about. The only dial is this rev counter, and this you have to watch closely to get the boat into the proper mode of travel.
Well, one thing you must have, of course, if you're going to have a powerboat race, is other competitors. Well, I'm only a beginner, so I'm going to race two other beginners, Peter and John.
The boat I'm driving is a Barclay, number 183. The man who taught me how to drive it, Les Bry, sitting beside me now. He also designed the boat. We've got a good chance, Les. We've got a very good chance. Fine. Well, let's see how we do.
Well, I'm also driving a Barclay, and my instructor is Graham Rowley. The number of the boat is 173, but what's in a number when you've got two engines on the back?
Bob started the race by dropping his hand as we lined up under Putney Bridge, and as we all opened our throttles, Val and Bob immediately raced into the lead. Even though I had two engines, they were much smaller than Val's, but I pushed forward in an effort to stay as close as I could. Val was really moving now with a wash effect in my line, and as we passed under Wandsworth Bridge, there was hardly anything in it. Val was still in front, moving faster every second. She was doing about 30 miles an hour now when Peter decided to make a challenge. It seemed to me that Val was only in the lead because she had the best start, but there was still a long way to go. The finish was at Tower Bridge, and anything could happen before that. I opened my throttle a bit more, but Peter wasn't going to let me get away. Val must have had eyes in the back of her head, because as Peter tried to narrow the gap, Val tried to widen it. Our speed had increased to about 35 miles an hour by now, and Val was really finding it difficult to hold the lead as we passed under Albert Bridge. The further we travelled downstream, the rougher the ride seemed to get, and on top of that, it started to rain. There was almost nothing in it now. Peter and I had managed to pull level. Tension was beginning to mount as we all struggled for the lead. There seemed to be hardly any difference in the power of the boats. Just as I was thinking how well I'd done to catch Val after a slow start, Val streaked into the lead again. Peter had been caught out by what must have been special tactics given to Val by Bob Fisher. Val seemed to have plenty in hand and crossed in front of Peter to make his ride rougher. She really showed us what a marvellous boat the Flying Saucer was and forced the gap between her and Peter even wider. We were doing 40 miles an hour by now and fighting our way through Val's very rough wake. Peter decided to opt out at this point and take a shortcut. He really was going flat out. The river was getting very rough and the rain was absolutely chucking it down. I just couldn't go any faster. What a fantastic battle this was turning out to be. It was great and I was loving every second of it until I heard a terrific crash. When the spray had settled, all I could see was a shattered hull, the remains of Val's boat.
I was able to get Val and Bob into my boat, whilst John and his instructor sorted out the best way to salvage the wreck. What had started out as a sport had, in a fraction of a second, turned into a near disaster. And as John towed the wrecked boat away, Val told me exactly what happened.
We were going very fast through the centre bridge, and I think we were ahead of the others. And I had my visor down right over my head like this, and the rain was right across the front, and I could hardly see, and we were bumping like mad. Suddenly Bob tried to look out, and there was the most enormous piece of wood right under our bow, a terrifying crash. And I said, what on earth's happened? And I looked at the back, and the engine was off, and the whole of the back of the boat was out, and it was filling with water. And he said, get on the bow, which I did, and I turned round, and Peter and John were right behind us. I thought they couldn't see what had happened, and they looked as if they were busy going through the next arch. And I climbed on the bow and the boat just tipped over and I went in. We were rescued though, fortunately. I'm very cold and rather wet. I'm shaking a bit.
I shook for quite a few hours after that with the cold, I can tell you.